Hello everyone, and welcome back to hopefully doing it right this time. As you can see, I loaded an earlier save and have just recompleted the war from the previous game. And now we are prepared to take the fight to the Blood Gorgers. And this time, use the proper casus belli. The one that actually says we can perform the conquest of Astanath. You are with me. Hello, welcome. The chat tracker is oh, it just took a moment to update. There we are. Welcome back. So yes, calling the Cobalt Company into war with us. And let's do this properly this time. Where is the Cobalt Company's military? They actually accompanied me down south this time, but they appear to have vanished. I don't want to try to take on this war without them. So, oop. Uh-oh. Seems like I have just put myself into a little bit of a bad spot. Well. Let's see how this goes. As you can see, I am taking substantially more losses. But the battle was still mine. And this was a thing last time, though I didn't pay it much mind. Faction takeover, Marchers. Gives us morale, land force limit, prestige from land battles, diplomatic reputation. Oh, that's what did it. The reason why we are now at 2 out of 1 diplomatic relations is because the Marchers actually remove one. Well, I don't exactly want to break up with one of my allies, so let's just let that be what it is. And commit a minimal force to the siege. Ooh. Orcs may not be known for their courtly manners, but few surpass them in matters of war. One Orcish commander has recently distinguished themselves at the court and has offered their services to the captain. We can recruit them. Small tolerance increase of orcs. Gain either an army reformer or a commandant, both of which are types of advisors. And they'll be at half price, so save me a little bit of money relative to that army reformer I've already got. Or say a true exemplar of the community. Moderate tolerance, increase of orcs. Well, I'm not desperately in need of a new advisor. I would rather like it if my people tolerated orcs a little more. So let's go with that. Putting us that much further along our way toward the path toward maybe someday having an integrated orcish population of our own. I think we can speed things up a little. Just remain on the alert. The enemy army could always come back. And the expansion of Sword Covenant happened again. Really wish I knew why that happened. I'm jealous. All right. So we can take their tribal land. So this unoccupied land, turn that into ours, but that actually seems kind of pointless. Um, well, I said it was pointless because seemed like we had additional benefits that we gained from planting ourselves in territory that was not our own. But doesn't seem like we have the option to actually take the land. The war goal prevents demanding this province. But as I saw it, that was the entire point of this war. I mean, I called attention to the cost of spelling and everything. So I, at this point, have to concede that I do not know what's going on, and it is getting frustrating. So I guess we will humiliate them, which will give us a large chunk of power projection. Get a little bit of money out of them. And assume that taking this land does us some kind of actual good that I just don't understand at the moment. Let's send the demand and see what happens. Hmm. We are playing nice with the Sword Covenant. They are not one of our allies, but we do have very positive opinion of them. Oh, give my computer a moment. At the revelation that my computer is much more of a potato than I realized, I have made plans to upgrade it in all sorts of ways. those plans have not reached fruition yet, but I promise that sometime in the near future it will be capable of playing these games without these problems. It definitely looks like there isn't really any hope of making war with them, Sword Covenant, as they have allies that are actually willing to defend them. So, and now it's saying we should migrate, which makes sense as we have exploited this area for all it's worth. And while Sapphire Watch has not fully recovered from the last time we were there, being in Castanath clearly presents its own problems. So I would rather migrate back to Sapphire Watch and regain access to these provinces up here. That having been said, unless it gives me some kind of, oh look, Cobalt Company is also expanding. How do you do that? Why can I not do that? Can I do that? Oh, wait. Well, at least it's cheap on the military power, but I think I'll stay here, at least for the moment. The cost of moving into Lower Castanath was relatively enormous. I'm hoping some kind of event pops up. This requires Administrative Technology 7, which is a long ways off. Yes, that can't be what they're doing. I am fairly close to being able to enact Righteous Cause. Okay, this must be it. Stake our claim. Before I click the button, as we have had more than enough unpleasant surprises already, let's save. Wait, what? Did I already have loans and wasn't thinking about them? Okay. We will claim all adjacent tribal land owned by a Green Tide horde. At the cost of 50 admin and 100 gold per province, can conquer non-capital settled provinces With the... Oh, jeez. This last migration can settle development into tribal land. Oh, okay. So... Okay. 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 Now we're getting somewhere. And our tribal development is now negative, presumably from all that spreading out we just did. But this is fantastic. I guess we took that tribal development that we had built up, making us a single enormously powerful province. And we took it and spread it out all around here. And presumably, once this is built up enough, we will be able to do that again over here in South Castaneath, as that is also some of our land. So the war we just waged on the Blood Gorgers was entirely worthwhile. Not in the way that we were expecting, but highly worthwhile nonetheless. And now things have taken a turn toward the familiar. We have gone back to what I recognize of EU4. All right, I can work with this. Well, let's... I'd really rather continue to rival orcs and goblins, really. So let's rival the Severed Ear. As much as the Sword Covenant and the Small Fellows, wherever they are, yep, Small Fellows seem to be asking for it. I would really much rather fight orcs and goblins and bring them around. See, because we have humans around basically everywhere, and they are our primary race, they are all automatically integrated. They give us reduced development cost, increased manpower, and increased sailors, although our sailor count is currently 0, and for good reason. Lakes don't count. The orcs are giving us increased goods produced and reduced culture conversion cost, which, that's less important in my opinion, but still, 10% more goods produced. And when some of our goods are, Dame's tier, which is just incredibly valuable, 10% more goods produced is definitely a worthwhile benefit to hang on to. I could attempt to purge the orcs, but honestly, I'm inclined not to. So can I pick a fight with someone else? If that's the thing is, though, even if I did, I'm not sure how much benefit there would be to it. At least I saw the benefit of trying to take Castaneath, which, look, right there, it says conquest of various specific places, and at the very least, South Castaneath was on the list. But, yes, it's turned to a bit of confusion as to what this conquest it refers to even means. Let's see, Westwood. Westgate. Ah, there's Westwood. Conquest of Westwood. Or if nothing else, the notion that I can destroy their tribe. Destroy tribe seems like something that could be interesting and helpful. And I could call all of my allies to help with this. All, both, you know. Let's do a little paranoia save. And see if now that I can take land at all, if I can take land from the severed ear. Calling both of my allies in for help. Interesting that Cobalt Company opted to keep that province for themselves. I suppose they're close enough to have a reasonable vested interest. 24th, 29th. 30th. I'm sure you've noticed that oftentimes when your ally sieges land for one of your wars, they'll often hand it over to you, and I did the same when I sieged some land for Cobalt Company. But if they see it as in their best strategic interests, they may decide to hold on to the land for themselves. In which case it can, whoops, I don't want to do that. It can be helpful to make sure that, especially for important fort sieges, that you get to the siege before your allies do. That way, you control the siege. Let's slow this down. The situation has become a bit more complicated. Now, that's interesting. It appears that Severedir is also at war with Headwearer. Interesting name. Or at least, well, those quick little dodges that I saw taking place led me to believe that they might be at war with one another. It appears that I was mistaken. See, now we've encountered a new problem in that the enemy forces are relatively concentrated and we are not. All of my allies down to the south here. Or I suppose that means that my side's forces are concentrated. Just far away from me, where it puts me in danger. And I would really rather like this war to end quickly. Oh, experiencing a little bit of a hiccup. You know, I can hear the music, but kind of only barely. Let me turn that up. There we go. dramatic. There we go. Now we've got an 87% war score, and the Severed Ears War enthusiasm is now only on medium, so let's see if we can... See, now I can actually click a province and force them to give it to me. Okay, that is fantastic. Can I humiliate? Close. Makes this worth a shot. Haha. They'll get destroyed. That's good. Alright, now our war score is noticeably higher. Now can I humiliate? Not yet, but now that they don't have an army... And they're fully sieged out. Oh, we've just jumped to 99%. Makes me wonder if I wouldn't be able to grab Westwood, were it not for my allies having already... Cannot be selected because Cobalt Company does not want it. Now that is just rude. They don't even want it. But they're not handing it over to me so that I would be able to take it. Oh well. Humiliating rivals is always good. As having power projection. See, humiliating rivals boosts your power projection, and having power projection of at least 50 gives me an extra 1 monarch power of each type per month, and that is pretty large. Admittedly, our power projection is already 70 because of what happened earlier with the Blood Gorgers, but that's going to fade, so being noticeably higher than 70 will do us some good, keep us the Lewis bonuses for longer. And let's, well, it's not a lot of money, but, oh well. And ta-da! For the first time, conventional conquest. It's not even a core. Ooh, and this this province produces gems. So, very worthwhile. As you can see, cattle is worth 2 ducats at base. Fish is 2.5. Gems, 4. Furs, also 2 ducats. Doesn't really compare to the Sapphire Watch. But still. Very happy with that conquest. And we are building back up into the positive tribal development. Not enough tribal development to settle province. I assume this needs to hit 1. So yes, unlike the strange methods of expansion we've used so far, when you take a province, it starts off just... Well, it's mine, but it's not one of my core provinces. which gives me overextension and has implications for well, I need to core it before I can make it a state, and unless I make it a state, it will never be less than 90% autonomy, meaning I essentially only gain 10% of the benefit of having it in my country. Also, because of the way I took it, I'm going to have separatists. You can see the separatist movement building up here, based on how much unrest there is, and there is a lot of unrest. We also have heart grinder separatists that I'm definitely going to have to deal with sooner or later, which is interesting. Who even is? Hello, thank you. Take a moment to catch up. By the way, you can control F in Europa Universalis for handy little shortcut. Okay, so who's Heartgrinder? Really? For some reason, I will have separatists for this nation over here as if I had taken this land from them. I don't know what that might be, but as strange Anbennar mechanics go, that is very much one of the more minor ones. Now I have a bunch of loans accumulated, presumably because of the 100 gold that was spent in some part of that initial stage of expansion. I could have avoided this if I had read more carefully. Story of my life right there. Now, I don't absolutely need to pay these back at any particular time, but I'm going to start paying them back now. This doesn't actually do me any good in any mechanical sense. It's just a handy little reminder for me to make sure I don't accidentally spend that money, because I would rather not have those loans. I am paying a little bit of interest toward the loans, and that will pay off all the interest. It doesn't work like real world interest. It just slaps on an extra, I believe, 20% right off the bat. While we have time, let's have the army drill, since I don't think anyone is going to try to attack us, and we've got a little bit of time before the rebels fire. So yes, an extra 20% is added to the value of the loans right when you take them out, and that is deducted slowly over time while you have the loan, and then paying it off early, like I did just now, unlike the way that works with real-world loans, I did have to pay off the full amount of the interest. So, yes. Also, taking loans in the first place gave me inflation, which makes basically everything a tiny little bit more expensive. And if it ever gets above 2, I can have unfortunate events. Allowing the money to accumulate rather than spending it on having new... Oh, bonus corruption. See, I could take an advisor and start accumulating a little bit more administrative or diplomatic power, but I would rather let the money accumulate, pay off the rest of the loans. Also, there's the fact that my force limit has increased, and I should probably start putting money towards taking advantage of that sometime soon. Actually, that might be... You know what? Given the fact that the Heartgrinder Rebellion is predicted to be 10,000 people, I think I want to make that more of a priority, building up my army. Improvements in government technology. A few local workers in the administration have discovered what they claim is a more efficient way to handle documents. I don't know, well, I suppose, not knowing what they were doing before, there could possibly be a lot of room for improvement. Obviously, they do not know what they are talking about, but can it hurt to let them try their new ideas? Spare no expenses, which will get me more inflation, but also 50 administrative power, or use caution, which would mean I gain only 10 administrative power. So at least I'm gaining some benefit out of their ideas. But the thing is, you can reduce inflation by 2 by spending a bit of administrative power. And see, it's only 73, and this is a 40 admin swing by agreeing to let them do what they want. So, on the whole, it seems like 40 admin power is worth quite a bit more than half a point of inflation. So let's spare no expenses. Oh, and at that, I am able to take administrative tech 5, which unlocks ideas. Now, ideas is a secondary means of advancing in technology, separate from the techs. It's a more customized way of advancing in technology, and it also grants benefits that are specific to your nation. After I take 3 ideas, which is to say unlock a group, and then, you know, say I were to take innovative ideas, then take these 3 ideas from within innovative, that would then grant me the benefits of call to adventure, which would increase my national manpower modifier. Now, I was considering focusing instead on something more colonization-based, but as we can see, the land is now pretty well claimed, and that won't benefit me much at all. Another note on a mechanic that I had been observing nervously earlier. Institution spread. Now, previously, institution spread made me nervous because I don't know how quickly it would spread across uncolonized land. But that's the thing. This land isn't uncolonized anymore. We've actually got contiguous borders from the nations of the Empire, which are already getting the Renaissance. In fact, they seem to all already have the Renaissance. Contiguous borders from there all the way up to us. So we might, in fact, be gaining the Renaissance in fairly short order here. That's something to be happy about. After all, why should the bold and adventurous, pioneering even, Pioneers Guild not be able to gain the benefit of the Renaissance? Seems like it ought to be ours. And as you can see, the Renaissance, not having the Renaissance, is already starting to hold us back just a little bit. The cost of embracing of technology 5 was increased by 15% when we bought it for these two, and will be again when we buy it for military tech. Orcish clan courts. I believe this is something that we already saw during the previous session. And yes, I would like to allow the Orcish clans to have their own courts, as it means we will tolerate orcs all the more. Heck, maybe we'll want to adopt the practice of localized courts into our own society. Integration. Let's all learn from one another. Aha! And as you can see, that is now paying off. The orcs are now coexisting in our nation. Which, on top of the goods produced modifier they had previously been giving, now means that they are boosting our manpower. I guess the fact that they are coexisting rather than being oppressed means that they are happy to join our army, although our army is still treated as being human. Another pleasant surprise. Perhaps, I'm pretty sure that we can boost them from coexisting to integrated, and then once that happens, we lose the unrest. Meanwhile, we do have a a large minority of goblins up here, but only up there. In Halen's fort. And they are still oppressed, but giving us a reduced construction time, which, honestly, that is a tiny benefit. I'm not actually especially worried about it. Now, wouldn't that be something? It's tempting to consider driving out the goblins, but that having been said, the benefit of gaining the orcs' acceptance, or rather their gaining of our acceptance, was an entirely new modifier popping up. So that makes me think that if we were to just wait... Now, take a moment. If we were to just wait and, you know, come to accept our goblin neighbors as well. Ah, here it is. This being a goblin nation, it obviously accepts goblins. And aside from the construction time benefit, also has plus 20% production efficiency and a small boost to goods produced. So that tells me that I really, really want to make nice with the goblins. Why would we want to exterminate the monster people when we can make them citizens? Oh yes, I really should pick out. Honestly, I like innovative ideas regardless. And under the circumstances, I like it even more. We are pioneers. We ought to be innovative. And military tech 5. In theory, I could have waited until the Renaissance arrived, but I still expect that to be years off, and honestly, 15% increase to the cost of taking the technology. It's not the worst thing. You know, funny thing, the term VTuber. Tuber is another word for potato. From that, I believe we can conclude that I am a virtual potato. Let's start recruiting another unit. Just build up to that force limit. After all, though we may be able to be confident that we would be able to take on either of these rebellions once they fire, the larger our army is when that happens, the fewer losses we are likely to take. Also, I'm sure the Sword Covenant, having rivaled us, has some interest in possibly attacking us too, and the bigger our army is, the more we can dissuade them. That having been said, okay. Was considering maybe making war on the flung head, but the thing that seems most prevented is taking of their capital. I could try and see what this destroyed tribe is, although I didn't see that option last time. I imagine there might be certain benefits to that, but I really don't know what that might be. Like, does that open up their land the way South Castaнаth has been opened up to me? Even if it is, I don't really want to expand there when South Castaнаth is itself still an option. Oh, speaking of South Castaнаth being an option, ta-da! And now we have expanded using that mechanic to the fullest extent that we are able. So now we need to figure out how we can extend what we can consider part of our tribal land. Presumably by making war with the Blood Gorgers, although we have a truce with them until 1472, so that's going to be a little while. Makes me actually now want to consider making war with the Flung Head again. Severed Ear is no longer a valid rival for Pioneers Guild because we expanded. So, Blade Breaker probably won't be long before I can't rival them anymore either. But as Lunghead has no allies, this war should be very easy, especially since their army is currently only 1,000, which brings us to another mechanic that I had yet to explain. If your army is 10 times the size of your enemy's army, this happens. The battle ends immediately with a stack wipe. So let's detach a siege and back off. And for that matter, while we're at it, let's start drilling again. Not something one normally does while at war, but, well, our enemy has no army. Also, I must confess I am expanding kind of aggressively, by my own usual standards of the game, given that I'm attempting to take a new tile when I haven't even yet finished coring the our last gains, although our last gains have been pretty tiny, so, you know, mildly aggressive. Just mentioning that for the sake of calibrating expectations. Learnings of an elder. It's very easy to forget that the younger races live life to a fuller and quicker pace than ours. Hondo must keep up with new developments if our country is to prosper. Alright, this is a mechanic that I like very much about Anbennar with its immortal races, although our dear Captain Pondo has already exceeded how long we can be certain he's going to live. Normally, your monarch's skills don't actually tend to change over the course of their life. Captain Pondo would be 363 forever. But, at least for the semi-immortal races of Anbennar, I am granted the opportunity to have him learn. Our diplomatic skill is already as high as it's ever going to be, 6, so we could opt to gain diplomatic power if we were wasteful. I'm going to say we must be open to new change and ideas, especially as I would like to be able to pay for these innovative ideas in a reasonable period of time. So let's improve Pondo's administrative skill. Ta-da! He's now 463. Don't worry about that. That's just the Empire. Decided I'd have a glance at what the Empire was doing. myself hydrated. Oops. Some of my men on the siege have died. Let's keep up the pace there, please. Well, there's actually a reasonable chance that one of these rebellions might fire before the war is over. That would be inconvenient. Did the Heartburner Rebellion grow? Oh, it's probably because I took this tile. Yeah. Oh, and now there's the secondary problem that both of these rebellions now have a similar chance per month of adding 10% progress. And since the Severdeer Rebellion is now at 80%, let's stop the drilling and let our morale recover. See, both of these have just under a 17% chance of growing per month. And the Heartgrinder Rebellion more or less caught up. What sort of terrain is that? That is farmlands. Well, since that is the smaller of the two rebellions, I won't worry about it too much. Doesn't seem worth pulling off of the siege for. And having my army here does drop the chance to grow a tiny bit. Not that I'm too concerned about that. I'm most, honestly, I'd kind of rather it fire. So that there's less risk of the Heartgrinder Rebellion firing at the same time. Like, Severdeer, please rebel and get it over with, so that I can deal with you. Oh, good. The siege of Silverdocks has ended. Let's see what sort of peace I can make. There's the Destroy Tribe option. Uh, no seed provinces. All of these options are grayed out. Only treaties. One treaty would be to destroy the tribe, which is highly tempting. I could make them a vassal. Do I want a vassal? No, we are so limited on number of relationships in the first place. No, I think vassal would be counterproductive. Alright, I suspect that when I destroy the tribe, this nation will simply vanish and leave this tile open for the taking. And let's also take your money. You're not going to have need for it in a moment anyway. Alright, we have destroyed the tribe. Pioneer's Guild suffers a maximum of 53 aggressive expansion. That is definitely something worth considering. But, as I was hoping, I can settle this land. There we go. Which also tells me that I will want to make war with... Oh, no. Order of the Iron Scepter. Those are humans. Of course, I am going to want to make war on humans sooner or later regardless. And it's not like I'm, destroying people. I'm making them part of my own country. Oh, random stability loss. This is an event that's been around in some form since the very beginning, and every expansion they add a new option, but they all do the same thing. Comet sighted. Peasants are always superstitious, and the appearance of a comet in the sky has caused panic among our people. They are convinced that this is a sign that the end of times is near, or that something bad is going to happen in the near future. And, yes, we lose the stability because our people are afraid. Which is a little bit more of a problem, actually. It wasn't something I was worried about when I was a single province, because maintaining stability, or rather, preventing rebellions in a single province is a very easy matter. But now rebellions are actually an issue for us. And let's make Silver Docks, Southgate. Let's make that a state as well, so that we gain the benefit of lower autonomy. Well, at least when the Severdeer separatist rebellion fires, my army is now all in one place, and slightly larger than it's ever been so far. Now I can get my stability back by boosting it by spending administrative power, but at the moment I actually don't have enough. And my overextension from this not being a core was part of that, but another big part of it is my lack of religious unity. My my nation's religion is Regent Court, but a lot of these provinces observe goblinic shamanism or worship Great Dukin. Now, I learned from a previous playthrough, the one down in the forest down here, that were I to exterminate the orcs and goblins, that could probably grant me a free religious and culture conversion, which has plenty of its own benefits for, making the nation stable, manageable, not having to fear constant rebellions. But we are avoiding that this playthrough. Now, religious conversion is a thing. And it looks like I could do that if I just accepted their culture, which honestly, given how much green orc culture we have, I think we might as well. Yes, let's accept green orc culture. And now I can convert provinces to the regent court religion. It's expensive, and it will take years. But ultimately worthwhile. And we can speed that up quite a bit. No, we can't. We don't have access to the edict mechanic. Normally it's possible to use this screen to issue an edict, which makes missionaries slightly more powerful. So yes, orcs, we accept your culture. We, oh, they're integrated now. Okay, so I guess the orcs are now full-blown citizens of our nation, fully integrated. There is still a bit of unrest attached. That's unfortunate. It didn't. I was hoping it would fully go away once they were integrated. I guess they are still monsters after all. But having them integrated gives me a reduction in local regiment cost, so I guess recruiting an army from province with orcs is somewhat cheaper. There we go. I just spent 8 ducats when it is normally 10. And let's boost stability. And both of these rebellions are now at 90%. Had to make this difficult for me. Alright. And it was the other one that fired first. A little unfortunate. But it's fine. We still outnumber them by a significant margin. And even if this would have been a river crossing from this province to this one, our leader has superior maneuver. Orcish refugees from Iron Hammers. Tired and weary refugees fleeing persecution from Iron Hammers mass at our borders. They seem desperate for a place to call a new home and won't take no for an answer. Well, that's fine. We accept orcs here. And by allowing them to stay, it actually looks like we have a 50% chance of gaining base production in South Castaneath no matter what we do. Looks like we ultimately can't prevent them from entering if we wanted to, which we do not. Let's let the poor souls in. Presumably they are here because the Iron Hammers are trying to exterminate them. I wonder, as this tribal development increases, are we still... No, the two bank loans we were unable to pay off have been renewed. But yes, I wonder, as our tribal development increases, does that still provide boosts to our nation's development? If so, where does it pop up? And there's the other rebellion. Now, this is all Bloodgorger land. I'll need to do something about them when I can in 1472. And unfortunately, I also have a truce with the Severed Ear, which ends in 1473. Well, let's just place ourselves right here in the middle of our own nation, where we are nice and safe, and start drilling again. Oh, we are... Okay, we are losing money, but not enough that I've really... Okay, that's a little bit of a problem. I don't want to have to take out an extra loan unnecessarily, so let's stop drilling and cut down on army maintenance for just a little while. Spending a little extra money on our army to reinforce it. There we go. And let's put our diplomat to work, keeping our allies happy. Oh, and we can make Lower Naphtha State, which requires a little bit more administrative power expenditure, but that is an expenditure I am happy to make. Get this farmland, this gem-producing farmland, under our full control. I don't remember. Is there something... Well, our governing capacity is 46. Is that the total of our development? 8, 15, so 23, 16, so 31, 39, 46. Plus 32 is 78. That's already a lot more than our governing capacity, so now that's not what that number is. So our current total development is 85, if I'm not mistaken. So that is something that feels worth keeping an eye on to see if the tribal development continues to contribute to that. Well, that also makes me wonder if we might not want to switch from stripping the land to pioneer mission. That having been said, all of this is likely to change dramatically once I hit Tier 5, which, despite being labeled a secularization, that probably has more to do with the fact that we are relying on the, what's it called? Theocracy mechanics. And we are not really a theocracy. But yes, in some sense, this is probably going to make us stop being an adventuring company and turn us into a real nation. Although how an adventuring company that controls this much land is not a real nation, I feel like that raises its own questions. And that will be enough to finally bring us up to our force limit. And we can turn our attention back to, hopefully, paying off those loans. Let's speed up time a little bit. After all, we've got nothing to do, since, well, it seems we are not really that interested in making war. The whole diplomatic system, the whole business of federations really dissuades me from making war with other humans at this point. Rule challenged. As it began, as it always does, with gossip, and with rumors, gossip, and sneaked glances filled with contempt and malice. If this challenge to Captain Pondo's rule goes too far, that he was not elected properly to the seat of Pioneers Guild, people will no longer speak, but might try to depose him, which would cost us 10 devotion. Our devotion is declining now. It's declining because of our lack of religious unity. Oh no. Well, that'll be solved once we get the orcs converted. Adventuring party wipes. Well, that's new. We have heard news that a party of adventurers under our banner have failed drastically in their endeavors. God damn it, Leroy. Lose one stability. Well, that's unfortunate. Really hoping to be able to take ideas, but instead I am restoring lost stability. Fortunately, converting South Castenath will be a very sizable jump in our religious unity. Religious resistance is proving much harder than anticipated to convert the citizens of South Castenath. Although a few of them showed some clear interest in the beginning, the majority don't seem willing to embrace a new religion. Increase your efforts, 8 heretic regiments rise up in South Castenath, or say it's a waste of time, which would take away all the missionary strength, and I would basically have to start over somewhere else. You know, you're really ruining the case for not exterminating the orcs. Well, let's move our army into South Castenath and be prepared for a rebellion. And the army reformer died. Okay. Either due to poor treatment, unrest, or devastation, the population of the human minorities has decreased in Lower Castenath. So we've gone and become a normal size human minority. All right, let's increase our efforts in converting. And that was a bit of a mean trick that I pulled, because since my army was here before the rebels, they have to contend with the -1 terrain penalty for attacking into an urban area. Bit sneaky, bit exploitative, but, well, it's probably the only sneaky exploitative mechanic that I ever take advantage of. Oh, and our force limit has also grown. And there's something good. The small amount of corruption that we had acquired, first by debasing our currency and then later just from a random event, is gone. As you can see, we no longer have to pay to root out corruption. Let's build the army up even bigger. And our force limit grew because the autonomy in our semi-autonomous provinces, the ones we acquired through war, is decreasing, allowing us to gain more full benefit from them. A little bit worrisome. once we are finally able to declare war on the Blood Gorges again. They do have allies that are willing to help them now. Hopefully our allies would also help us, but at the moment, Sons of Demaria are, I guess, a little beat up from their own wars. Meanwhile, the Cobalt Company would not accept because, well, the same reasons we shouldn't be fighting the war right now in the first place. We have a truce. That truce also applies to the Cobalt Company because they were with us in that war. Sons of Demaria, since you have a considerable amount of favors owed to us now, since diplomacy was a little bit of an issue in the past, let's trade favors for trust. Like, oh no, you don't owe us anything. Or, you don't owe us as much. You can trust us. Yeah, let's keep in the good graces of our allies. And oh, look. We are in a position to advance technologically once again. And now, having not embraced the Renaissance is a 30% penalty. Renaissance does grow in provinces not adjacent to current Renaissance provinces, but very, very slowly. We are mostly waiting for it to creep across the map. So, yes, I believe I will, despite the increased cost and the fact that it literally doesn't do anything for us at the moment, I will take diplomatic tech. Not taking diplomatic tech meant that our innovativeness was decreasing, and innovativeness reduces the price of various things that cost monarch power. Well, allegedly all of them. Effect of our current innovativeness. All power costs minus 0.5%. It's not enormous, but it's something. Repay a loan. And then there was one. Natives not assisting. Really? This is an issue for our nation? You aren't exactly using the colonization mechanics here. Local native helpers are temporarily not assisting our fur trappers. This is leading to reduced production, which is going to cost us the better part of 8 crowns, which I've been calling ducats. I'm going to sit on this event for a little while, and hopefully it will not require us... Oh, god damn it, Leroy. Our stability is now -2. Ah, and And as you can see, if you let an event sit for too long, it will just go off on its own. Which is fine. We managed to accumulate sufficient money before it did. I was worried for a moment that stability might increase the time it takes to convert a province, but it doesn't look like it does. What does -2 stability do? Trade power, spy detection, unrest, of course. That's the big one, the one that I was mostly concerned with. Interest, devotion, yearly devotion, as if we weren't having enough problems with that. Caravan power, and adventuring efficiency. So, yeah, I should probably boost that before we lose too much extra devotion. Oh, and, oh. The general improved his maneuver skill. The one thing we definitely didn't need him to improve, but, yeah, well, it's better than just not improving at all. This comes from drilling so much. And now we need new rivals because we have surpassed too many of the rivals we already have. Wait, we can rival Severdier? Why can we rival Severdier? They are tiny. Well, I won't say no. And I guess it's time to rival the Sword Covenant. It's interesting, even though there's nothing especially happening at the moment, our nation continues to grow more and more powerful as the autonomy wears off. The manpower maximum increases, our income increases. Of course, there's also the fact that we are, just gaining current manpower as well as maximum manpower. Our income slowly increases. So even though we'll experience much more dramatic change once we can finally attack the Blood Gorges again in about 5 years, we are making gains of a sort. And of course, there's just the slow, gradual, incessant march of technology. And the really all-important benefits of government reform. Once we become a country, we will just get a colonist, at which point I assume we would be able to colonize Eskerton regardless of how the Blood Gorgers feel about it. And let's repay that last loan. We now owe no money. And can think of greater things, like scooping up some advisors. probably an administrative advisor, if I'm being honest. While we can certainly handle the rebellions as they arise, I would really like to be able to get on those innovative ideas. And, those random stability losses have been quite a problem. The random trade leagues disbanding feels like no real concern of ours. Just, something small nations can band together to do. Heck, maybe we could if we really wanted to, but, full confession, I don't really understand the trade mechanics well enough. Speaking of trade mechanics, our capital is here. Since we moved back from within the city, which means that our trade capital is also here. So it really seems to be in our best interest to pull our merchant out of there and assign him to transfer trade power here. Oops. I guess I assigned the wrong merchant. And just like that, I have increased our trade income. Just by correcting a little mistake where I was steering trade to a province where I was no longer collecting. Although our primary income is from taxation, simple, you know, money gained from our populace, the collective amount we get from production and trade is not to be ignored. Oh, well, that's interesting. The philosopher that we can hire as an advisor. Well, okay. I was about to, but let's look at what this says. Goblin Minister. We can... It doesn't give us the full text, but we could... we could recruit a goblin military engineer or trader which would give us a small increase to tolerance of goblins, which is a little bit tempting, seeing as they would be half price by the nature of the event. Or I could do this and get a moderate increase of tolerance of goblins, which, you know, there are enough of these events that we're bound to hit that sooner or later. Let's recruit a goblin. And there he is. This goblin trader. Wait. Would I be able to recruit both? believe that was 0.46. Of course, since he increases trade efficiency, will actually increase my income, but let's see, that would leave me with 0.9. Okay. Should be fine. And also our military technology improves. And we gain the ability to build barracks, which, you know, we've never had nearly enough money so far to build improvements. And are unlikely to anytime soon, but still. It's the benefits of just getting that extra monarch point. Unsurprisingly, Severed Ear is no longer a valid rival for the Pioneers Guild. Hello, what's this? Praised Pariah arrives. A wandering pariah has arrived in Nortmirwick, setting up in the town square and maniacally warning people about some impending doom, which gives us an adventurer's wanted condition on Nortmirwick. Until our adventurers deal with the problem, we will have one extra unrest in Nortmirwick, which, you know, could be worse. Yeah, we don't even have any unrest. This praised pariah preacher is literally a non-issue. And now we have unlocked Tier 4 Administration. We can either get Ascani Administration, which would reduce development costs and increase tribal development growth, or Adventurer Administration, which would increase manpower recovery speed, and Discipline. Discipline making our armies more effective. That having been said, tribal development growth is just so nice. Assuming it still works the way I think it does, which one would hope. Seems like it's basically net. Oh yeah, because we came to be in this position because of the stake our claims reform. So yes, let's grow. Let's see. That's 31. That's 32. So 62, 69, 79, 87. I don't remember if that's actually higher or not. I would actually have to go back and check the VOD to find out if I have actually gained any new development from tribal development alone, or if it just expands my ability to, well, expand. Unless you happen to remember. Decadence comes with age. It's hard to keep up with the young races of the world. Pondo believes everything was better in the good old days. Reminisce about the glory days. Lose 20 prestige. Oh, goodness. Well, as much as I'm often unbothered by how high my prestige is, I'm about to get plenty of it back by hiring this goblin philosopher. Which brings my income pretty low, but monarch power is more important. With 2.5 years to go, before I can pick a fight with the Blood Gorgers, let's go to speed 5. Oh, shoot. What happened to my income? Well, um, unclear what the problem is. Maybe something just shifted in trade. I guess I'll just have to keep an eye on it, as I'd rather not do anything that really messes with it. Oh, sure, they can make me their rival. Ah, what's this? Tell 'em. They tell us of potions for adventurers. Well, that's a cool event. For most of history, potions have been extremely hard to craft, with it requiring an extremely skilled alchemist to produce them at anywhere near a reasonable rate. However, recent breakthroughs have allowed for far easier potion production, and combined with the ever-increasing demand from adventurers in Escan, potion sales have gone through the roof. As such, the demand for potion bottles has similarly increased. So, Kellum gains money in innovativeness, which doesn't really matter to us, but the price of glass changes by plus 35% until the end of the game. And we have a glass producing province, don't we? Yes. Yes, we do. So, that's our money problem solved. That's an interesting thing. The even in the base game, those random events happen that will change the price of some good for better or for worse. For example, I think there might be a Silk Road event. Suddenly, silk becomes more available in Europe and more fashionable in general, and all of a sudden, the price of silk goes up and the price of wool goes down. Not especially concerned about how Iron Scepter feels about us. Ooh, anatomical theater. Local doctors in North Merrick have begun to pay good money to study fresh corpses. The physicians claim this allows them to improve their knowledge of the human body. documenting it for the betterment of mankind. Improving the grasp of human anatomy is not an argument that impresses locals when the graves of recently deceased are found open in the morning, however. Citizens of Nortmerek are now demanding that we restrict these horrible practices and that we put a stop to the grave robbers. We can reprimand and restrict the doctors, using one innovativeness. We can say they can dissect the bodies of the convicted, which gives us 5 unrest, which, again, is something we can kind of handle. Or let us work to secure a constant supply of bodies for their work. Gain 1 innovativeness, lose 10 prestige, and gain the unrest. For science. Oh, and we now have enough administrative power to take Patron of the Arts, our first innovative idea. Our quest toward a culturally cultivated society begins here. Our artistic wonders will go down in history as the most marvelous of this area. Admittedly, prestige decay actually works for us at the moment, not against us, as our prestige is negative. But this will be beneficial later. Ah, adventurers wipe out cults. After a long period of planning, a band of adventurers snuck into a great ritual by the Eldritch cult in Nortmerek. Their claim was no doubt trying to summon what they called an aspect of the Dark Descendants. Whatever the case, the attack was successful, and the adventurers have completely wiped out the cult there. We gain 5 prestige, and the crazed pariah is gone. That's good. Our diplomat has done all he can for making our allies happier, so let's just go to neighboring countries in general. Although we are now just over a year away from needing that diplomat to declare war on the Bloodgorgers. Honestly, you asked for this. Stop gorging blood. And the Sons of Demiria would now be happy to help us, which would be enough to push our numbers over theirs. Of course, by taking that administrative idea, that sets us behind on hoping to take administrative technology, but I'm not especially worried. I don't really need what administrative technology is offering me at the moment. Faceting. Price of gems changes by plus 25%. Also beneficial to me. Huh. the Blood Gorgers moved their army up close. I wonder if they see that truce coming to an end and think, oh, maybe we can catch the Pioneers Guild while they are still drilling. Let's stop drilling, not because of them, but because the Flunghead Separatists are now at 80%. I wouldn't want them to catch me off guard either. Although, with a much lesser population to the other two, their chance per month of growth is pretty small. Oh, what is this? Decadence comes with age. Hondo believes everything was better in the good old days. I have some great ideas for a new form. The next 10 years, unless Pondo dies before that, Pioneers Guild gets administration reforms that doubles state maintenance to no actual benefit. And, okay, state maintenance is already 0.56. Wow. Still, the old man's skills are generally more worthwhile than, the problems he's begun to cause. Well, I am more short on, administrative power than diplomatic. I think I want to kick out Elgek just because I'm paying so much less for Tyler. That, and Elgek is older anyway, and will, greater risk of him dying in the middle of his period of service. Bloodgorger is no longer a valid rival. Severed ear again. And Order of the Scepter. Just a few more months to go. And then I'll be able to attack the Bloodgorgers and hopefully gain far more benefit from doing so this time. Bruce expired. Kind of feeling why not both. Oh, I have no diplomat to send. Wait a day. Alright, we're going to war. Now, the fact that I don't know where their army is makes me... Ah, there you are. We'll be taking a -1 penalty for attacking into the woods. What military tech are you on for? We are on 6. They don't have the pip advantage they used to because we moved up to a better unit. I think we'll be okay. Oh, yes. Split the army in 2. And now we are doing all of our own sieges. Screw you, Cobalt Company. You can't screw us this time. Oh, rising support among the common goblin population. As a leading figure of the common goblin community, Tyler Cocarn has both good insights and a strong influence far beyond the council, which he is part of in Sapphire Watch. A fact that he has used to our advantage, strongly increasing the popular support of both our adventurer and East Demarian people that rules it. So, Silver Docks, this one province, loses on rest and gains production efficiency. Not enormous, but still a nice little perk. They not have allies join the war? No, they... The Dead Fang? Where... Oh, the Dead Fang are way the heck down there. Well, past experience tells me that, fully sieging out the war leader in one of these wars will probably give me 100% war score regardless. Wait a minute, did our general die? Suppose he must have, and I missed it. No, don't really want to drill right now. Long-head separatists are still a potential problem. Oh, decrease of orcish tolerance. No one is sure what happened, whether it be troubles with war, the economy, or just plain incompatibility. But one thing is for certain, Pioneers Guild tolerance for the orcish race has decreased. Well, that's unfortunate. And the Dead Fang army is on their way. Let's not let them interfere. And my allies are providing some nice, quite useful help. But the siege is over. That did not put our war score to 100%, but let's see what we can do. Okay, so We could flip a bunch of tribal land to our tribal land. We could make them return course, but that would be returning it to Severed Ear, which does us no good whatsoever. We could not destroy the tribe, because they would need to own less than 2 cities and have fewer than 2 tribal land. Okay, so what I could do is take these 2 cities from them. Which would make it so that I wouldn't be able to take any tribal land. Kind of pushing the limits of the peace deal as I am, I guess. But if their allies can come to me, then presumably I can also go to them. Get dunked on. Wonder, can I separate piece you out of the war? No, not yet at least. Well, as I now have a siege leader, let's detach this way so that the leader stays behind. Can I kick you out now? No. The social and political conflict in the Silverdocks. Now, it's worth noting that even though I lost a bit of tolerance of orcs, they are still integrated. The urban aristocrats and the Pioneers Guild in the lower classes are in the grips of a conflict which the advisors of the Pioneers Guild saw as an opportunity to strengthen the captain's influence in the city of Silverdocks. The encouragement by Pondo's advisors made the guilds revolt against the aristocrats, and they have opened the city gate to allow Captain Pondo's army to occupy the city. This is a great opportunity for us to subject the city to the captain and curtail the city's rights. March in and take the city, lose autonomy in Silverdocks, but local unrest would go up. Although we're facing. Oh wow. I guess just stationing an army there was enough to get that rebel faction on the decline. Or, there is no need for an occupation. We already own the city. Gain 10 devotion. Thank you. Yeah, that was very useful. Thank you. the Emperor has enacted an imperial reform. More imperial things that do not concern us, really, but it is interesting that it happened. We are less than 30 years into the game. I'm pretty sure having 2 reforms is well above the usual pace. Makes me wonder if they might be able to unify an actual Anbennar nation. You know, much like its analog in the base game, the Holy Roman Empire, it usually falls apart more than it unifies up. There we go. 100% war score. Let's separate piece these guys out anyway. You guys, pay me war reparations, give me your money. Which keeps us at 100% war score because they were the only other participants. Wait for our diplomat to get back, and then sue for peace. So this would give us 1 new province and bring them down to their 2-city limit. Wait, no. No, it wouldn't. Oh well. I'm pretty sure we would need to pick them apart over the course of several more wars, regardless of what we do. So... 34 aggressive expansion. That is a little bit substantial, but if it were going to risk forming a coalition, we would see it over here. So let's... I feel it'll be great to have the entire city of Castaneath, and then Eskerton will be a new place for us to expand using that mechanic. Send demand. And settle. Fantastic. And this province produces copper, which is 3 ducats. Current price, which admittedly isn't enormous, but still, it's more than most things. Plus, it just feels kind of cool. We're producing copper here. Now, other nations are asking for military access through us. Honestly, I see no reason to not just accept. It's fine. And make North Castaneath a core. And in the process, our religious unity dropped that much more, unfortunately. And our truce is up with Severed Ear. You know, given the fact that they have all of 1 province, it is very impressive that they managed to maintain such a large army. Ooh, new thinkers arise. Our generous policies, allowing people more freedom of speech, have created a fertile breeding ground for promising new ideas. Some of our prominent new thinkers might become great men, who will eventually leave our nation with a lasting legacy of intellectual growth. We have chosen wisely. And we gain a Skill 1 Army Reformer, which increases morale of armies by 10%. Okay, well, our income has noticeably improved, so let's recruit him. Another half-price advisor? Couldn't ask for much more. And honestly, we can afford to employ well, we've got a bunch of rebel factions ticking along right now, which does kind of suggest that getting ourselves a theologian could be very helpful. Reduce the problem from all angles. But -2 is not a lot relative to the size of most of the unrest we have. And honestly, none of these rebellions are big enough to really threaten our army. We have loads of manpower, so let's recruit this orc philosopher. And for that matter, let's build up our army back to our new force limit. Interesting. Severdir's army just collapsed a little bit. Give it a moment for our new troops to arrive. And let's take Westgate. We could call in allies for this, but honestly, I feel like we really don't have to. They are only military tech 4. Ah, right. Our new general does not have incomparable maneuver skill. But we still got the better end of that conflict. Let's manually detach a siege. And... oh, where are you gonna go? Oh, shoot. The point of manually detaching a siege, well, part of it anyway, was to leave the general behind, but I seem to have failed to do so, so instead I will just have to take advantage of the general for the next stage of this fight. gift to the state. The nobility and the businessmen of the Rome have decided to reward our good governance of recent years by donating cash to the treasury. Some of it out of patriotism, others in exchange for honorary titles and position. We can put it into the treasury. Not that needed. Spend it generously, gain prestige. Wouldn't mind. Or I'm sure I know some more people who can contribute. Given Pondo is well connected, that unlocked this option, which gives me both benefits. Seems a little bit cheesy, but yes. I'm sure I know a few more people who can contribute. Gained money and prestige. Excellent. Uh-oh. Great Dukan betrayal in South Castenath. Our war against the Great Dukan has not gone unnoticed by their local supporters. In South Castenath, traders who hold faith before country have taken the opportunity to rise up and attack us, perhaps hoping to aid the enemy or encourage other Great Dukan nations to join the war. 16 religious regiments rise up and revolt in South Castenath. I think I can set the siege aside since it has made very little progress so far. And let's focus. Oh, good. Yes, let's focus on dealing with this first. Once again, the slight cheapness that is positioning your army before the rebellion takes place. And also, let's let our army recover a little bit so that we outnumber them. Oh, a bountiful harvest. Gain 29 crowns. Honestly, since we now outnumber them by a good 4,000 dudes, I will shift consolidate, which gives me a few empty or nearly empty regiments. And let's trigger this battle. And they gain the -1 penalty for attacking us in defensive terrain. And let's get back to the work of sieging. Half-orc minority created. Oh, now this is cool. The mixing of humans and orcs in Sapphire Watch has led to the rise of a prevalent half-orc minority. These new people combine the raw physicality of their orcish blood with the determination and adaptive will of humanity, and will no doubt be an important minority in the province. That is cool. So it removes or decreases the orcish minority size in Sapphire Watch. But it adds a half-orc minority. So even though they're coexisting, not integrated, the penalties for half-orcs are noticeably smaller. Smaller increased estate maintenance, smaller boost to unrest. And both of these minorities are average size, neither have the large or small minority modifier, whatever adjective. The half-orcs give the same boost to manpower, but also increased local defensiveness. No regiment cost reduction, no goods produced boost, but I am eager to see when the half-orc minority becomes integrated, what further benefits will they grant us? I had no idea this was coming. We are becoming a half-orcish nation. That's beautiful. Okay. You perform the siege. The rest of you, go after that army. Oh, I can't actually enter that territory. Well, that's fine. I will probably sit there until the end of the war. We are losing money, but slowly, so I suspect that's all on, yep, reinforcement. It's fine. Oh, we can purchase an ability. Spoils of a scan. Increases looting speed and available loot, which I believe is just a money thing for when you're looting a province. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with tribal development. So, not really good enough to be worthwhile. Manpower recovery speed, that is always great. Adaptive combat terrain, +1 combat bonus in Reign of Capital, which is farmland. And there's enough farmland around here that feels like it could probably be useful. Higher developed colonies. Well, we're not using that mechanic, and we're still years off from being able to use the colonization mechanic. Cavalry to infantry ratio. We're not really using cavalry. Cavalry is more expensive than it's worth. War taxes. We're not using war taxes. Perhaps we should be. As for subject, not that worried. Justified wars, or the ability to issue the edict to reduce unrest. That would be lovely if I believed I could issue edicts at all. So, justified wars. Let's reduce aggressive expansion impact. I am all for that. Oh, Sons of Demiria has chosen to add the advancements. Joint grain depots. Our tribal development is growing all the faster now. Oh, and we won the siege. Alright. Oops. No. Sue for peace. Wait. Why can I not destroy them? Own less than 2 cities, has fewer than 2 tribal land. Huh. No? No, I don't get it. It looks like I should be able to destroy them. Own less than 2 cities, currently 1, have fewer than 2 tribal land, and it looks like their only tribal land is this, here. So I don't understand the problem. Have they just got way more land somewhere I haven't seen? Can't make them a vassal because their war score is too high. What's the development here? 29. Okay, well that explains that, but not why I can't just destroy them. So, some kind of fluke to the mechanics is the best guess that I have. So, well, it's not like this work really cost us a lot anyway. It's a little annoying that I can't really get anything out of it, but it didn't really cost me much. So, pay me war reparations, give me money, and, screw off. You annoying orcs. Orcish refugees from brave brothers. Come on in. We like you here. So I guess my only option is to continue picking on the Blood Gorgers, which, my truce with them ends in 1487. And having been said, I do, for once, actually have the money to build a building. Oh, wait. I am mechanically a tribal society, and therefore would only be able to build tribal buildings. Longhouse, monthly reform progress. That's always nice. That having been said, I am well on my way towards secularization anyway. At which point, hopefully, I will stop being mechanically a tribe. Now, another thing is that I have a crapload of diplomatic power and not really anything to do with it. I could sink a little into promoting mercantilism, which would make me more powerful on the trade front. but I am not especially powerful on the trade front as is. The other great use for free floating monarch power is to put it into development. And I believe, in fact, yes, we have a few things going for us that make development a little bit cheaper. Although counting as primitives is working against us in a big way. But still, the cheapest provinces to develop at the moment are the ones with the most valuable production, dames tier and gems. So I am all down for getting a bunch more dames tier. And province can only be improved in one area up to the total, well, you can see at a glance that I've got 8 here, 4 here, 3 here, 4 administrative, 3 military, and now I can't develop any more base production. And let's sink one into Kalen's fort, just because. Although I do have a bunch of extra military points, since the next military tech is still 4 years ahead of time. So actually, instead of calling it quits there, let's sink a few more monarch points into Sapphire Watch. Making Sapphire Watch just as developed as North Castaneath. So yes, development of your provinces. Very cool mechanic in my opinion. Actually, I am now making so much money and have one of the larger armies in the area, I feel like... but the cavalry don't actually have more pips than the infantry anymore. They have the benefit of a greater flanking range, which is what I was about to get at, but since they're not actually any more powerful, I think I'll just get more infantry. And nothing I actually want to spend my money on. Missionary falls ill. Oh. Frederick has tragically died. Thinking for a second there, Captain Pondo might have died, but no. He outlived his heir. And now I need another. Honestly, well, hopefully we will be at a real nation sometime soon. So... charismatic pioneer again. Okay, missionary falls ill. Missionary we sent to South Castaneath hasn't had much luck so far. News have just reached us that he has fallen ill. Grammar check. Any further work on the new church has come to a standstill, and without his guidance, the chances of converting the locals are rather slim. This with the job more than 3/4 complete. Send someone to assist him. Costs 25 admin power. Direct your efforts elsewhere. Lose all the missionary strength. I will spend the admin power. Loath though I am to spend admin power on something that, arguably shouldn't have been necessary. I don't want to give up all that conversion progress they have already made. Oh, and the air has loose lips. Foreign spy detection minus 20%. It's not the worst thing. There aren't a lot of things spies can really do in this era. We have gained a core province. We should be drilling. Possibly not for long, as our rebellion is now at 70%, but still. Our army's drill is disappointingly low. And, of course, our army professionalism could always be higher. Dame's tier deposit dwindling. Mean. The central fact of Dame's tier is that there's never enough to go around, a principle that has reared its head once more. A delegation from Sapphire Watch is wringing their hands outside the chambers of our ruler, squabbling in whispered hisses over who will break the bad news. Soon enough, it is known that the province's supply of blue gold has passed its peak, as the deposit in Sapphire Watch has dramatically depleted in size. Well, good thing I wasn't actually dependent on that. Worry spreads among the elite of our society, whose prosperity and power is often dependent on Dame's tier. Sucks to be you. I'll be fine. That they might soon be at the mercy of foreigners when securing their supply. We can only pray that the deposit can be stretched until an especially bountiful tears fall, which I guess is when more Dame's tier falls from the sky? This bodes ill for our nation. Sapphire Watch gets dwindling resources until the end of the game, giving the following effects: local goods produced modifier minus 50%. Well, that's not great, but it really seems to me that makes this deposit's value go from 10 to 5, which is still more than any other resource, except gems. Because the value of gems went up. So now Dame's tier and gems are on par with one another for overall value. Bloodgorger is Persian goblins? Huh. Oh hey, I now share a border with the House of Riches. I'm pretty sure this used to be Sword Covenant land. Huh. If I were to go to war with the Sword Covenant, they would outnumber me. The Cobalt Company at present would not join because they are 44 marks in debt. And, well, they're fighting another war, but they would be willing to overlook that if they weren't in so much debt. as that is a minus 40, and they currently have minus 32 reasons to join us in our in a war we ask them to. Who are you at war with, anyway? Oh, Cyberdeer. That is the exact war that I just saw start. Okay. Now, I could throw money at them. I think I would rather wait for their war to end. Because if all I did was throw money at them, they might join the war, but not actually commit the troops. Oh, this is nice. Court painter available. Lately, we have been looking for painters or artists to try to adequately capture the glory of our captain. As it happens, a painter offered his services to us just this morning. So spend 35 crowns, gain 10 prestige and 1 stability. Possibly the best event we've had so far. We now have positive stability for once. Oh, well, they ended their war. But now they don't want to join because they are low on manpower. That having said, they are less in debt, and their army strength is also a problem. So I guess we'll just let the Cobalt Company chill. I think everybody's getting the same idea I did. Oh, look, the Severed Ear is weak. We can kick their butts. And then, because of fluke of mechanics, they can't actually act on their victory. Forgery of documents. It was a common defense against annexation and usurpation to forge documents, have them counterfeited or backdated to corroborate one's arguments during times of struggles for expansion of land or privileges. Even now, these questionable methods are used, and even we ponder if this practice should benefit us. Hopefully no one will detect the discrepancies, so I could forge documents, gain 50 admin power, half point of corruption, the forgery might be discovered, or keep that filth out of our archives and gain 5 devotion. Well, devotion is definitely the bigger problem. At adventurer captains. Rumor has it that a few of our prominent captains have been keeping more than their fair share of treasure, and worse, a representative of the angry parties has approached us with the proof on the matter. What can we do? Confiscate all their gold and redistribute it to the company. Lose 100 crowns. Confiscate some of their gold, lose 50 crowns and 5 prestige, or say so what? Gain 5 lose 5 prestige and gain 1 corruption. Well, we are not hurting for gold. Hey everyone, play fair. We are a big, wealthy, powerful nation of adventurers. You don't need to go stealing. Yep, definitely time to stop drilling. And let's move our dudes to Kaling Fork. That Orcish minority dwindles. Well, that's a shame. Oh, by dwindled, they apparently meant disappeared completely. I'm sure they'll reemerge sooner or later. It's a real shame. The coolest event to have happened so far this game has been undone. Take the second innovative ideas. Empiricism. With the search of knowledge also comes many false ideas. It is only with evidence that our experience of the world around us that we can provide or disprove that what is before us is in fact true. Gain more innovativeness, which, you know, not a huge benefit, gaining more innovativeness. But the third innovative idea reduces technology costs and institution embracement costs. That will be big. Plus, we're getting close to the call to adventure. That's two groups that are at 90%. So this one looks like it's likely to be the first to fire off. So yeah, I probably want to be here. But I just noticed the time. That is, in fact, all the time we have. So, at that, with our nation waiting in eager anticipation of the next time we'll be able to kick around the Blood Gorgers, and meanwhile, with tensions rising, rebellions on the horizon, possibly within the next month or so, and finally the conversion of South Castaneath coming to the near future. Sometime this year. Fantasy December. That will be where we leave off. Thank you once again so much for joining me.